What did I read to finish off the month of July? Stay tuned and find out. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zacks Books, and today I've got a recent reads for you. Technically part 2 of July, so I guess you can consider this a July wrap-up, just without the first part. So I've got 4 more books that I read. I think I read 9 in total for the month of July. We will have these linked down below. Again, check out everything else that's linked down below. Danielle's channel, she's close to 500 subscribers. Whoop whoop. Who knows, maybe she hits it by the time we post this video. You never know. But yeah, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let's get into the books. Alright, first up is Clowns vs. Spiders by Jeff Strand. So this book not only has got a sick cover, but it's also got a funny story to it. So, well, obviously, because it's a book. Pretty much what happens in this is a group of clowns get fired from their job of being comedic clowns, and they get hired to be haunted house clowns. And, like, none of them want to do it because their whole life they've spent, like, you know, using their clown stuff for, like, good and, like, cheerfulness. And then this guy's like, no, you need to be bitches to these people. Like, you need to scare them. You can't touch them, but you need to scare them. We're basically following Jaunty. He's like the main one that we're following. There's Guffaw, Wagon, Reginald, the Pleasant Clown, and Bluehead. Yeah, it was a pretty entertaining book. I think I'm going to give this 4 stars. And didn't even finish the plot of the book. Simultaneously, at the same time, a carnival that hires them to be the scary clowns also wants to kind of like expand a little bit, and so they like go to this cave and they like blow open the cave and it releases spiders. I think they keep calling them wolf spiders, or like close to wolf spiders, but they're like literally the size of like footballs. Like they're gigante, and their origin story is like the first chapter. They're like, they take over like this pirate boat, and then like this other pirate ship's like, hey, why is that ship glistening? And then they send a dinghy or whatever over to it, and spiders kill them all. And then they go on this island and get stuck in a cave for years. It's a very exciting story. I thought the ending was really nice and heartwarming. Also pretty entertaining. So yeah, a couple of comedic things in this book. It's like a comedic horror book, I would say. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was nice. Also, that cover just looks really cool. So yeah, 4 stars for Clowns vs. Spiders by Jeff Strand. Alright, next up was the reread I had for Danielle's birthday. And my opinion of the book, I think, slightly got better at best. The Saturday Night Ghost Club by Craig Davidson, also known as Nick Cutter, if I'm not mistaken. So this book, we're following a young man. I think his name is Jake. His uncle Calvin is kind of an oddball person. Jake's parents don't really like him hanging around him too often. And you're kind of getting all these stories of like pretty much what you find out happening. I'm going to settle on probably 4 stars with this, so it raised the star. Pretty much what you're getting out of like this whole like ghost story thing is his uncle kind of had like a traumatic experience happen in his life, and this is like the plot of the book. I think it like basically his uncle has like literally been traumatized with all these events that happened in his life, and to cope with them, all the major events, he literally has come up with ghost stories for each thing. There's a woman in a house that loses a baby. There's a car accident where a little girl drowns with her dad, I think. There's like all these events that take place, and the parents at the end finally reveal like the plot twist to Jake. The story was good. I ultimately just have to settle on 4 stars. I don't think it's a 5. I just something didn't work for me in this, and I just can't really pinpoint it. But it definitely got better now that I've read it a second time. So there you have the Saturday Night Ghost Club, Craig Davidson. Alright, rest of these are basically 5 stars. Actually, one of them's 4.5 because something that happened in the book. And that is this one. The Caro Hunt by Darcy Coates. Everyone said that this is their favorite Darcy Coates book of all time. A lot of people have. I definitely see where it can be everyone's favorite. It actually had the potential to be one of my all-time favorite. But I was following along and doing the audiobook at the same time, and I'm pissed with the ending of this book. If you've read it or if you've done the audiobook, they don't match. They don't match at all. So in the book, like, everything gets resolved. Basically, you're following Remy. She's a tour guide for a haunted, like, house, the Caro house. And pretty much what happens is this guy comes up to her and is like, hey, I want to kind of do some, like, overnight stuff here for like a week and see how it goes. Because, it's haunted as hell. And so she's like, okay, that's fine. And you get this old woman with like a butler type person. She's kind of annoying and sketchy. You get an Indian guy who's just like a big videographer type dude. You get all these cool characters in the story. The characters really made the book a lot better. And the ghost of this house needs, like, I wouldn't say sacrifices, but like people that die to like grow stronger and everything like that. And so people start kind of going one by one. And like I said, the ending, things get resolved. It seems like a nice, happy, cheerful ending. It is a happy, cheerful ending. Literally, except for one frickin' person in the audiobook. But in the actual book, that person is okay. So, like, obviously I can't just base it off of, like, the audiobook not being as accurate as the book is, but, like, it just threw me off because I was like reading along and then all of a sudden it skipped like 4 paragraphs and then like it went back to a paragraph and then it skipped out entirely out of one whole thing. And for me, I just got to dock half a star for that. I literally just can't. Like, if I were to just have read this physically, it'd be a 5 star. But because of the audiobook, I don't know, maybe it's 4 3/4. I'll just settle on 5 stars. Who the hell am I kidding? It's a 5-star book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The audiobook threw me for a loop and I didn't enjoy the audiobook. So, whatever. There you have the Caro Hunt, Darcy Coates. Alright, the last book that I'm going to talk about is Rose Matter. This was my Stephen King book that I read this month. I had plenty of options for a King book. We actually were going to do a reading vlog at some point, his lowest 3 rated books on Goodreads. I think it was this, The Tommyknockers, and Cell. I had already read Cell, so that kind of ruined that, and then I decided to read The Tommyknockers earlier this year. So that video idea went down the... And so I decided to read Rose Matter, just because I felt like it. And a lot of people hate this book. I think this is just like Dreamcatcher for me. I went into this with a different mindset, which I just need to start doing with Stephen King. Hot take, Stephen King is not just a horror writer. So other books that he has written cannot be horror. This is one of them. This is kind of more like a thriller type book if you think about it. So with me going into this book with that mindset, this book is a 5 star for me. Definitely not top 10, definitely not top 20, but it is 5 stars. It is a very solid book. You're following this woman who's in an abusive relationship with a police officer. Which, by the way, that guy does some really sketchy stuff. And I think his character, I don't even remember his name. But this dude, total cunt. I do not like this guy. Norman. Of course it's Norman. Norman, one of the most, like, dickhead characters that King has ever written, in my opinion. Guy's abusive with his law abilities. Just a terrible human being. You feel bad for Rose. But yeah, she finally runs away from him. And one day she stumbles across this painting that looks kind of nice. she takes it, and the painting is like a portal to another dimension, and it's like really cool. I thought the story was nice if you go into it thinking it's not just like, oh, it's King, it's going to be like Cujo or like Pet Sematary. Not everything is written as like that, which during my Dark Tower reread, I'm going to need to have that mindset. But this book, I thought it was definitely better than expected. Like I said, the only things I had issues with was some of the things that Norman did, like groping a man's testicles on a park bench and like biting a guy's weenie off. Like, didn't think those were super necessary to be like written into this book. But it is what it is. I guess it was just showing how crazy and sadistic Norman is. But definitely didn't need to hear those things and read those things. But whatever. But yeah, no, I'm gonna settle on 5 stars for this. But it's one of those 5 stars that's like on the lower end, just because to me it's a 5-star, but it doesn't compete with like The Dead Zone or like The Green Mile. Like, it's not even close. But it's still a really solid book. So there you have Rose Madder by Stephen King. Alright, so those are the last 4 books that I read in the month of July. Technically started another one, but I didn't finish it until August, so that's not going to make the cut. Duh. But yeah, we'll have these 4 linked down below. If you did not see part 1 of this, we'll link it up here for you if you want to watch. I mean, we're not labeling it part 1, but the other recent reads I had. Let me know some books you read in the month of July. Let me know in the comments down below. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.